giant kelp farm. So it's about 2 chests of kelp every hour, which is pretty insane. It's also stupid, because who needs that much kelp? Alright, welcome to Air Simulator, where we are in the air. Lovely. So, how do you build a giant kelp farm? That's very related to everything that just happened, right? Well, my friend has a chest here, and you need 2 observers, a piston, kelp, 2 water buckets. Actually quite a few fence gates, about 7 per line, I think. But these are numbers per kelp, so you'll see what that means in a bit. You just build a giant line of the same thing, but for each thing, these 2 water buckets just make water source, because obviously once you made an infinite water source, you can get as much water as you want. It's infinite. You only need the fence gates once, and you can expand sideways, in which case you'd need more fence gates. Just a hopper to collect the stuff, chests to store the stuff, so you probably want not 64, but a few, and some building blocks and lighting blocks. Jack-o'-lanterns are cheapest. That's the building blocks. But obviously, if you want to build it massive, you're going to need a few observers. You know, like maybe this many. But however big you build it, you're going to need twice as many observers as pistons and 7 fence gates. That's basically all that matters. And a kelp. You can start off with 1 and grow from there. It's great. And I also forgot you need signs. So for every line of kelp, we have an extra sign. And I also forgot you need dirt or sand or something it can grow on at the bottom. So yeah, good start to tutorial as always. So I think the main thing is work out where you want your chest to be, your kind of main storage. We're actually going to do quite a hefty main storage because we're going to end up with a bit of kelp. Now, a cooler way to store this might actually be to load up shulker boxes and then send them off in minecarts, because you could fill a chest minecart with shulker boxes and then chuck it on its way if you were building this truly massive, but shulkers are a bit of a pain. So yeah, this is going to be our main storage. This hopper's going to be where all the items end up, and we'll just go backwards. So water can go 8 blocks, so we'll go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can actually do 9 blocks, can't we? Because we can just let it kind of pop in to this hopper. So for your kelp farms, we'll actually put the dirt here. So you just want 8 blocks of dirt going out to the side, and your kelp is going to go on top of that. So on one side, you're going to have to decide which side. I like to do it like this. So I have light blocks here. I'll just fill in all of them with it, but you only need enough to kind of keep it lit up. And I don't think you actually need light for kelp to grow. It just kind of looks nice. So above these light blocks, you put pistons facing towards the dirt. And then 1 block above the pistons, we want observers facing away from the dirt. So they're facing outwards. And then observers underneath those facing downwards. And the reason is, these will detect kelp that has grown to this height, and that will make the pistons push outwards, which will break the kelp, and it will get washed into this hopper. Now, any block that will actually allow the items to fall into the hopper works. The reason I use fence gates is they're very thin, so if you wanted to expand this even further, quite easily, you could just add another 1 on the other side, like that. But for now, we're just building the 1 unit here. So we just want some building blocks above the observers. Really, they can actually be anything, as long as they stop water. So we're putting signs on those. And the reason we're putting signs here is it stops the kelp growing up, which would ruin some water above, potentially, if there was any lag if you're on a server. In normal circumstances, you might be able to leave these signs and put a water stream just here that washes the items this way. But I just put the signs because it stops any potential for kelp to get up there and ruin the water, because kelp will turn non-source water blocks into source water blocks. So if it's flowing, it'll turn into solid, essentially. Solid water. Yes, that's obviously what happens. So we're just building blocks up on this side. Now, on this side, you can actually build another one, and it doesn't matter about these observers and things because they will not be affected by the kelp growing here because this observer's facing this way. So this observer will only get affected by the kelp here, and none of this piston or anything will affect kelp here growing. And you even get light from these jack-o'-lanterns. So you can put them next to each other like this, but on this side we aren't because that's where the end of our water stream is. So if this is just as far as you're going, you just block up here, and again block up here as well. And then we just place water sources at the bottom. Don't know why that one's not a water source. There we go. And then kelp in those. And then on the sides, we place water sources. And that'll flow down. And as the kelp grows up, it will fill in those as actual water sources, like all the in-between blocks. So we don't have to bother filling all those in. We only have to fill in the signs. And lastly, for the first bit of the kelp farm, we just do a water source at the end. So what we're actually... Okay, right. So... I should have put in the, before I put the water over the signs, you should put a water source at the top because that will allow it to flow all the way across. Then you can go below on these blocks with the signs and place water sources. So now we have one fully functioning kelp unit. So again, the reason there's fence gates is that the kelp will get broken, get pushed up into this water stream, and will get pushed into the fence gate. And then if you were just building one block across like this, so you're not going any further, you can actually build another one directly above by just putting your dirt down here, and it will wash into the fence gate fine, and then you can build another one on this side. If you want to expand it outwards though, a bit different. Okay, so what we can do is if we go diagonally up one block with our dirt, then we can actually post another one of these with the water flowing into the first one, like so. So this is how you expand it across easily. You get this nice kind of diagonal stream of water going down. And then just a tip for when you're building, if you want to build ones above, if you just did the dirt across like before, the kelp will just get stuck on here. So you need a place with a little gap like this. So if we throw kelp here, so should have the least, well that's not kelp, it was a dirt block, but it shouldn't get stuck. So that dirt just went straight to the bottom, didn't it? Oh my god. What are you doing, dirt? You're, what? Dirt? Hello? Hello, dirt? So anyway, leaving the small gap here should mean that the items will eventually get pushed under. So now, as you can see, it actually goes underneath this because there's a small gap. So none of them will actually get stuck. They'll all eventually pop underneath. So for ones above, you just need to offset them one block across. Oh, I've just blocked off the entire water stream. Oh no. So if you want to build more farms above, you offset them by a block. So instead of being 8, this one would be 7. And then if you built one above this one, that would have to be 6. Until you start going one block up like on this one. So then you'd have to go to here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 like that. And then you'd have to go one block up there. So I'll just use my structure blocks to make these, even more of these essentially. And we'll see how giant a farm we can bother making. So we've made this kelp farm a little bigger. I also just recorded this and did it for like 10 or 20 minutes and I wasn't recording, so that was lovely. Yeah, kelp farm is now 12 rows of kelp things wide. It's pretty cool. It's kelp farm. This is all a kelp farm. And we just got a water stream to collect it. So the thing that's most surprising about this farm is not how much kelp it produces, it's how little kelp it produces. I mean, seriously, kelp has got to be one of the worst farming blocks for how long it takes to get a decent amount of it. Because holy balls, look at this thing. This is 3 rows. No, 3 rows? Yeah, it's 3 rows. It's 3 rows. Right, rows are across. There you go. I do maths, by the way. 3 rows. And this many rows in the other direction. And, you know, columns, whatever direction they're in. Does it have columns? I don't know. I don't remember. It's got a lot of kelp. Okay. So here's our trader who gave us all our items to build it. Thank you, dude. You are a big help. You're free. And yeah, this kelp. It's just kelp. Just lots of kelp. Except it's not. So that's a lot of kelp, actually. This is in like 2 minutes. It's like a stack in 2 minutes. I take everything back. This is amazing. I love it. It's the greatest thing ever. Okay, so we're going to come back in half an hour and see how much this thing produces in kelp. And bear in mind, I actually missed kelp on the bottom row of every single bloody one of these units with the fence gates. There's like one missing on every set of 8. So there's supposed to be 24, but there's actually 20 to 21. So that's annoying, except they grow 3 high at a time and get pistoned off. But I'll stop stuttering and going through random talk now. We'll just wait the half an hour. I'll see you in half an hour. Okay, so it's been half an hour. That's less than I thought. I mean, I don't know what I'm complaining about. So we've got 3, 6, 9. So it's just under 24 stacks of kelp. So if we divide that by 3, every 10 minutes, we are getting... So it's about 51 kelp every minute. That sounds quite fast. Hang on. Let's just do with an actual calculator. 24 times 64 divided by 30. Yeah, okay, I was exactly right. 10 out of 10. So it's around 50 kelp every minute, which does not sound like that big a number. But then you're like, oh, okay, I will get my like. So that's per half an hour. So if times that by 2, it's about 3,000 kelp an hour, which is pretty fast. I mean, I guess you'd expect it to be being like a 24 block by... It's about 24 by 24. I mean, it's like 1 block extra, but it doesn't have to be. It could be. So like, we've got this 24 by 24 by... If this is 24 high, I'm going to laugh. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21 sad times. I mean, I guess if you include the like 2, 3, 4, it's around a 24 cube. And that gets you like this much kelp, and again I actually missed some at the bottom, so it's probably more like this fully done to the end. It's about a chest of kelp every half an hour. So it's about 2 chests of kelp every hour, which is pretty insane. It's also stupid, because who needs that much kelp? Do you just love dried kelp that much? Is